present arms. Order arms. Center, haste. Forward, hurt.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?
Thank you, everybody, for asking me to be here today. It's quite an honor, really, and of course, the real reason we're all here today, of course, is to honor those who died while they were serving in the country. And I'd like to especially pay a special honor to all the people I served with during World War II. At that time, I was just one of 16 million people that were in uniform, which was more than 1 in 10 people in the United States ended up in uniform at that time. Of that 16 million, 400,000 had died in combat. So those are the people that we'd like to honor today. Last year at this time, I was in Savannah, Georgia, where the 8th Air Force has a museum, and we put out 26,000 flags at the 8th Air Force Museum because that was a number of people that had been killed during World War II flying out of England. So, and I was at that time, I was in a unit called the 100th Bomb Group, as you probably noticed on the folder. I wasn't, because today is primarily a day of memorial to those who died and whatnot, I wasn't intending to speak too much about my service. I was lucky in a sense. The flying in an airplane is quite different sometimes than standing on the ground. If a plane drops out of the formation because it's damaged and whatnot, you always hope that that guy is on his way back home, or if everybody bails out and lands safely. So, and if we come back after a mission and there's 3 or 4 empty beds in the barracks, you always look at it and figure, well, those people in that plane, they landed at a different airport, or they just bailed out and were safely landing. There's a TV show out currently called Masters of the Air, which is a version of the organization I was in during the war, the 100th Bomb Group. It tells quite a bit of story about the 100th Bomb Group and the high number of losses that they had at that time. And luckily, in a few years ago, the Vikings and Hy-Vee took 6 of us veterans from Minnesota here and took us over to France and England. I had an opportunity to get to the beaches at Normandy. I had never seen them before, but I'd heard about them, and that was quite a experience to look at those beaches and figure that some of those beaches looked like they were longer than 3 football fields, and I could just imagine the problem that soldiers had running across that wet sand with all their equipment, and at that distance also, which was amazing. When at the time I was over in England, which was in November, and in England they have what is called Remembrance Day, and Remembrance Day is the kind of matches the same as our Veterans Day here in the United States. we went to the London, and at the Royal Air Force Chapel there, we had a service there at that time. And then we went out to the American Cemetery, and the American Cemetery has, again, the 26,000 I mentioned earlier, names engraved on a wall there of the people that had died during the 8th Air Force. And on the wall in the at the cemetery also, there's a poem there, and this poem was in a sense was actually written as from the grave. And so it's kind of a poem that kind of is asking us to remember the people that had died during World War I. And also, it also assigns us with a responsibility to carry on. I'm sure that most of you probably have heard this poem before. In Flanders field the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly. Scarce heard amongst the guns below, we are the dead. Short days ago we lived, fell down, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders field. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw the torch, be yours to hold it high. If you break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep though poppies grow in Flanders field. During President Kennedy's inauguration speech, he also made reference to this poem when he said the torch had been passed to a new generation. Now, luckily, I've been selected again to go back over to the beaches in Normandy. So there's going to be 70 veterans from World War II that will be on a plane load that are going to go to Paris, and then we'll be 4 days up in the beaches at Normandy. And at that time we'll visit Utah and Omaha Beach, and we'll also have a service at the cemetery that's at Normandy Beach. Now, June coming up, of course, is a excellent time for remembering the soldiers that died, because Flags Day is coming up on the 14th of June, I believe, and it's an opportunity for all of us to remember the soldiers that were standing at Fort McHenry. And also that at that time, this became the birthplace of our national anthem. If you recall, in the songs you just sang today, the soldiers were there. Not only they were suffering the bombs bursting in air and the rockets' red glare, which also were the same as that flag was there on. July 4th is coming up also in a few months, so this is another reason for you to. Oh, on Flag Day, I want to remind you that if you all will get out and pick up a flag and whatnot, that can be the symbol of the torch that the previous poem had indicated. Coming up in July, of course, is the 4th of July, and the 4th of July reminds us of all the patriotic soldiers that actually gave us our independence, starting with in Concord and Lexington, all the way down to Yorktown at the end of the war. But the thing that was most important about 4th of July, of course, is there's a Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence, of course, sets out one of the reasons that we are keeping our freedoms as we're keeping them now. And one of the things is that if you're not really familiar with the Declaration of Independence, it'd be a good idea to review it once in a while. And it indicates, 24 or more grievances that we had with the King of England at the time, and it will kind of just show what the soldiers of the Revolutionary War, the reason they were carrying on the fight against the home country. There's we heard the national anthem sung here earlier, and the President Reagan at one time quoted something from this piece that I'm going to have, and people are referring to this as kind of our second national anthem, and it's a song that you'll probably hear several times in this coming weekend. I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died and gave that right to me. And I would gladly stand up next to you and defend her here today, because there ain't no land, no doubt that I love this land. God bless the USA. Thank you.
So much. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Well, blessings. I hope you have a wonderful day, get a little rest and some good food. What do you think? Do you think you're going to get a little rest and some good food?